So we're going to bring our dog to the bed, whatever it may be. If he refuses, just stay there, talk to him till he gets on. When he gets on, all four paws, you say good boy, and you stay there until the dog stops trying to get off. Okay, very important that you stay there until the dog decides to stay on its own. Then you repeat. Doesn't matter if you sit him or not. As long as all four paws are on the bed, they may sit on their own or down on their own. But you repeat this command a few times, 4 or 5 times, before moving on to the next step. Now the next step would be to add length to the leash so that the dog has the option to get off, and then you can educate the dog by putting the dog back on the bed. Again, we're not moving off that bed until the dog is complacent with what we want from him. It's also important to, when you're taking the dog off, to keep a short leash. If you notice, my hand is very close to his collar. And then, like I said, I'm going to give him the option to get off with more leash room so he can make more choices once he's compliant with just getting on. And then, as you saw, he stepped off and we put him back on. That was an education moment. So the more your dog messes up, the quicker he can get to learning what you want, what it is you want from him or her. And this is the first session with this dog. This dog, previous to this, has never done this before. So you're going to figure out, you're going to see just some of the tribulations that you will go through with your dog when you teach this command. This is called the go to your bed command. So really quick, it's very important that you tell the dog go to your bed every time you get close to the bed. Okay, very important that you do that. Now we're moving on to the down. The dog doesn't know this type of down. Now your dog may know what down means, but this is the down, non-negotiable down. Okay, so I want to get the dog to learn how to go down on the bed. So when all four paws are on the bed, I say down and the dog downs. All right, so we're just applying leash pressure down until the dog downs. And then again, you wait there until the dog settles and does not try to remove himself from that down. Very important that you do that. Very important that you stay there with the dog once the dog is in a down. Count to 10, count to 15, but the dog does not, so that the dog does not anticipate getting up. No treats here are necessary, okay? Because we're teaching and we don't want the dog again to anticipate. So removing treats eliminates the anticipation. So here's the other thing about the down is you will come across stubborn dogs. Maybe your dog might not take this long to go in a down, but there are some very stubborn dogs. So again, we're just applying light leash pressure. We're not hurting the dog at all. We're just applying light leash pressure to convince the dog that it does have to go in a down and there's no way around it. Okay, so this is a very important skill when it comes to a lot of things, like the what the title said in the beginning of the video. All these, all, all of those skills or all of those challenges that you have with your dog, the place command, the go to your bed command can help with that. So notice my hand does not move. Very important. You have to not move in order for your dog to realize that there's no way out of this other than going down. So my hand does not move. I do not move. Um, I actually might revert to putting my foot on the leash, but again, still using light pressure, not to hurt the dog, but to just get the dog to down non-negotiably. That constant pressure will get them to go down. And the reason why we do not use treats is because we don't want the dog to only work when you pull out a treat. That is the problem with implementing treat training in your teaching of dog skills. Once you get this first repetition out of the way, the dog will go down much quicker. I promise you. So he just refused, but that's okay because we're going to continue to do what we want, or continue to enforce what we want from the dog, which is down. It's all a game of getting your dog to know that this is what you want. You, they won't refuse it if they know that you are going to be more stubborn than the dog is, more consistent than the dog is, more persistent than the dog is to refuse what you want from him. So just stay there. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You can add a little bit more pressure if you like I just did. Um, there will be sensitive dogs, so be careful with that. But some dogs will need more pressure in order to convince them that they have to go down. Okay? And the good thing about this, again, is once they're in a down, and once you get past this initial protest, they go down much quicker because they know what to expect from you. Make sure when you are applying pressure that intermittently you're saying down, not one after the other, not down, 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 down. Make 10-second gaps, okay? Especially if your dog knows what you want, knows how to down, and then just doesn't want to do it. Make sure you just space out those downs. Do not repeat them one after the other. Very important and very tough for people to not do, right? Everyone that comes to me and trained, I have to tell them, do not repeat yourself over and over again. Remind them every 10 seconds, let them process it, but do not make your command one after the other. It should not sound like down, down, down. They heard you the first time. Now, see how quickly the dog then goes down the second time? That's what you will get if you seem like a brick wall with what you want. Okay? You cannot, you have to seem like an immovable option, an immovable object, so that the dog will respond and accommodate to that. Now I'm going to take another step. Since he knows what the down means and he did really well, I'm going to drop the leash. Now, the key in getting him to stay there and to be able to walk around, sit down, answer the door, all those things, you have to be able to get him to get up. Or once he gets up, once he gets off, you have to be able to put him right back down. All right? The dog has to know that you are going to put him back. Once the dog is convinced that you will put him back, the dog will not get up. And it may take you a few times. So this is really good to see that how to troubleshoot. So this is a green dog. This is his first session. And we are just teaching the dog that you have to stay down despite me walking around and things like that. I'm eventually going to go sit down on the couch, which is tough for dogs to stay in the down once you've sat on the couch because it's associated with them coming over and asking for affection. You can also remind him of his job. If he looks like the dog's going to get up, tell the dog down or tell the dog stay. Very important that you're going to have to do that too when you start challenging him even more by opening the door, by knocking on the door, by ringing the doorbell. Very important for dogs that are reactive in that circumstance. When guests come over, if that head comes up, you want to tell the dog down or stay, right? So right before you sit down, you want to tell the dog to stay. Basically, every time the dog looks at you or lifts his head or gets antsy, just remind him of his job to do. All right, so I'm sitting on the couch and I might be telling him stay if I see that he's doing what I just spoke of. That right there, I told him to stay, stay, stay. Stay. Eventually, once the dog knows that it has to stay, it will accept it, and you will get a dog that starts to fall asleep um, because you have worked them mentally and physically. So remember, stay more stubborn than your dog. Practice this and allow him to stay on that bed for at least 10 minutes a day, and you will find that your dog chooses to go to its place because you've shown him that it could be a secure place if you just practice enough. Thank you for watching.